Is photography dead? Came to this park and thought I'd make a video about that topic. The conversation about that has been going on for decades. But let's first set up the place where I'm gonna photograph, or not photograph, but videograph this whole session. And then we'll start with the first argument about photography being dead. But let's set up the things first. Hi, it's Peter here. And let's start with the first argument. And the first one is photography is dead because digital photography is so easy. And if one thinks that it is, excuse me, if one thinks that it is really easy, then there's not much knowledge about photography. Yes, it's easy. It is easy in a way that you can photograph really easily by pressing the shutter button with the modern digital cameras, phone or a modern digital real mirrorless camera will take care of many things that was not possible back in the days when we were using film. So in that sense it is easy. But if you say that photography is easy and that's why photography is dead because it's so easy now, you're totally wrong, because photography is a lot more than the technical things that you might think that are the important things. More important things are story, composition, proper exposure, which might not be the one that your camera gives you, and then of course image editing, and then of course you need to choose the subject matter. There's no AI yet that can choose your subjects if you're photographing. Of course there are some new AI things that can make pictures just adding some text and then it will think what it is. And those are a lot of fun, but it's not photography, and it doesn't mean that photography is dead. The reason that many photographers are really annoyed about this and saying that photography is dead is because they kind of lose their edge when things that are technical are getting easier. Because many of us photographers kind of like to brag about the things we know, and even people think that manual mode is some kind of a holy grail, that if you don't know manual mode you don't know photography, and that's total bull. It has nothing to do with that. And that's why I think a lot of photographers are annoyed, because they kind of lose their edge and they don't know everything, because there is no limits for anyone to take images. You can use your phone and get some stunning results if you know what you're doing. And then the next one is that the argument, is that everyone is a photographer because of digital cameras and especially mobile phones. And when digital cameras were new, a lot of people entered the photography world, and most of those were nerds that had been playing around with computers. And yeah, nothing wrong with that to get interested in photography. But the problem is that they were not interested in photography, or most of them were. They were interested in the technology, and they kind of thought that now we are the photographers because we know the technology, because a digital camera is a computer. And yes, it is. And you have a lot of computational imaging and stuff like that. But we come to the same argument again, that photography is not about technical quality of the image. It's a lot more. Image quality is a lot more than just, corner sharpness or something like that, or noise or lack of noise or something like that. That's just gets me so irritated when people are saying that image quality matters. In most cases it does not. And that's the problem. If you look at photographs only like a technical point, and then you don't really see the other stuff of photography. And it's the same thing when nerds started taking digital photography, is that when photography was invented, most photographers were chemists, because of you had to know the chemical substances that was used to develop the film and make the prints. You needed to know how to handle those poisonous things, and that's why they were photographers were chemists because they knew that, but it didn't mean that they knew about composition, about art, about storytelling or anything like that. And it's sometimes a lot of fun to look at this new question or new discussion about how photography has died because there are a lot of photographers. It's the same thing happened decades ago when small cameras were introduced. The chemists, the guys with the tripods and big cameras were appalled because everybody could take photographs. And of course, everybody meant those who could afford. Of course, it's totally different this time. Most of us in the Western world do have a mobile phone with a decent camera. Of course, back in the days it was a totally different thing. They were really annoyed because they ruined photography, because for them photography was a slow process, and now you have these fast cameras, well, fast at the time, and then anybody could buy a Kodak Brownie and get it developed for somewhere else, and that wasn't considered to be real photography. And then of course when 35mm cameras came, it was even a bigger revolution in a way. And the same happened with digital. Everybody, and then mobile and social media, and people thought that photography is dead because everybody can do it. And I think the best part of the democratization of photography is that there are no gatekeepers that will choose which photographs can be published. Now anybody or everyone is a publisher and can show their work, and I think that's marvelous, because then you really have no barriers or no gatekeepers to prevent people from showing their work. And I think that's a brilliant thing, and I think that doesn't mean that photography is dead. The thing is that when people say, photographers especially say that photography is dead, it's because it has changed. And yes, it is a lot harder to make a living as a photographer if you are only doing photography. There are a lot more things like videos, and photographers have YouTube channels if you haven't noticed yet, and they do video work for clients like I do. Something that I picked when the price of a photograph went down because of the high supply, or there are so many photographs available, and stock photography has plummeted. It used to be a good business for some, now it's not, because you need to have millions of images to make a living as a stock photographer. That has changed, but there is money in photography. It's just in a different place, so the revenue streams has changed. It's not where it used to be, and that doesn't mean that photography is dead. You just have to evolve and change yourself in what's going on around, and how to make a living as a photographer. And let's say the social influencers, for example, there are huge amounts of money in Instagram posts for some. And why didn't photographers do that? Why was it some influencer doing that? Why not photographers? You haven't done that and starting to do that kind of advertisement photography. So I think the part that photography is dead is only that they have changed, and the photographers who say that have not been able to adapt, and they are annoyed because everybody can do it. They don't have the special thing anymore, and that's, I think, was the biggest part. Let's see, what else do I have here? I think I have said everything, and I think I'm gonna enjoy this park a bit more, and maybe I do some photography, even though it's not the best time to take any photographs. But here, or maybe over there, you can watch some more videos about photography. But hey, thanks for watching, and bye for now.